Hi guys, this is my last episode for a while. But don't worry, I leave you in the very capable hands of Angelia while I go and be turned into a cyborg.
On the moon. I've cut my hair in grieving.
He's going to be super sad I'm gone.
I'm not.
Don't worry, Angelia is much better than he is.
That's just mean. That's just mean, Jess.
That's just who I am, I guess. This is Nerdcast. I'm Jess.
I'm screaming internally.
His name is Mitch.
This is Nerdcast.
To the Batmobile. Let's go. Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed. Roger. Ready to move out.
Hey guys, we're going to start off my last show just like we always do, with news and views. Did you hear that Sony's CEO, Kaz Hirai, said that the PlayStation 4 is first and foremost a gaming console? Well, based on what information we have about E3 so far, that seems to be true. Over 40 games will be at this year's showcase, although this does include PS3 and Vita games as well. Luckily, a lot of games are supposed to be released on both home consoles. Also, time for some more Xbox One news. Yay! I say that with just a hint of sarcasm. They released more details about their new controller. They have added extra vibration. They made the joysticks smaller and require less force to move. And they even made the D-pad better. Voice streaming has also been improved to the point of a phone conversation. So now when a 13-year-old calls you a rude name, you can hear it crystal clear. My personal favorite detail about the controller, however, is that the Xbox One is supposed to be able to tell where you're sitting in a room. So if the player 2 person is sitting on the left instead of the right in a split screen game, their screen will also be on the left. No more having to resituate yourselves because you just don't want to trade controllers. Now, I know your friend has the one with the broken B button, so it's okay. You get to keep yours. They also detailed how used games will work, but it's still very confusing. Basically, Microsoft used vague phrases such as each disc can only be given once, but this could be interpreted several different ways. Just check the internet and you'll see. Also, you can only give discs to your friends, at least the ones online. They have to be your friends for at least 30 days, so no more selling back to GameStop.
Let me start this review by saying that if you could only watch one movie this week, and you decided to watch Will Smith continue his quest to make his children famous, well then you're partially responsible for why movies suck in 10 years. Just deal with it and move on. I'll hold the grudge for you. Assuming you wanted to watch something with some effort behind it, Now You See Me is a phenomenal little film about magicians who use their skills to commit increasingly profitable robberies while being pursued by the Hulk. And that's all I'm going to tell you about the plot. The sheer number of twists in this movie prevents me from saying anything more. But I can tell you the movie is set up with the same complexity and care of a magic trick, with a proportional level of payoff. What I'm trying to say is that Now You See Me is constructed beautifully. It's rare to see a movie that's not only entertaining, but engaging. The movie begs the audience to figure out its trick. In fact, it's dependent upon that, because that's the easiest way to trick someone. The whole movie is deception, the basis of all magic tricks, and it makes the movie about as meta as possible. And that's why Morgan Freeman's in this movie. For this trick to work, because the movie itself is a trick now, the acting needed to be spot on, so they filled the movie with heavy hitters like God, Alfred, and the important faces from Zombieland, including not Michael Cera, as he continues to play increasingly less likable people. Still, I think I was supposed to hate him in this movie, so good job, Anti-Michael. Now, if I had any single bone to pick about Now You See Me, it would have to be about how the movie, fun joyride that it is, tends to get just a little silly in its portrayal of magicians. I get that their whole plan is this elaborate masterpiece of magic and crime, so I can excuse some of the illusions that would have taken hours of on-site setup in high-security areas, and I can excuse that the FBI is completely unable to watch the news, which would have given them some clues about all this magic goings-on. Fine, jump those sharks. I can assume there are ways around all that. However, as a magic nerd on top of a movie nerd and a video game nerd, I can tell you that being a magician does not give you superpowers like it does in this movie. Hypnotism does not quite work that way, and being good at magic does not mean you can take down trained FBI agents in hand-to-hand combat or drive stunt cars. But, admittedly, I'm just reaching for criticism. Now You See Me is an absolutely solid movie all the way through. Go see it. Also, if you're one of those people who spoiled the ending for a friend, then maybe you should have gone to see After Earth.
Capcom says they have a surprise for us at E3. I wonder what it is, although it's hard to imagine that I could be more excited by their surprise than DuckTales Remastered. Have you seen that game yet? It looks gorgeous. I can't wait to get it on release day. I do have one request though. Include the original 8-bit version as well. Sometimes you just want to go old school, even if it makes you throw your controller. I need to invest in a Nerf controller. Fable returns, at least with the Anniversary game. Kind of like the PlayStation HD collections, Fable Anniversary will work with newer products such as Smart Glass, in addition to their graphic overhauls. It comes with the Lost Chapters and even has new achievements. There was a rumor going around that GameStop would stop selling the 8GB Wii U model, and that if all stores had to send them back, there would just be no more. Nintendo later clarified by stating that they are not being recalled, but that they are only trying to create a balance between the 8GB and the 32GB versions. Remember how Robert Downey Jr. might not play Iron Man in the Avengers 2? Well, Joss Whedon won't make it without him. Score! He says that Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man and that no one can fill the role as well as he has. I have to say, I agree with you, Whedon. But come on, Hollywood. Seriously, can't I just have my Avengers 2 already? Just work with the man!
Now this is a first for Nerdcast. I want to talk about a game that's been out for more than a year, so I'm not even trying to be up to date. However, every now and then a game will come out that stands out among the hundreds of titles released every year. These games have a message, or a unique means of storytelling, or they bring something critically new to a genre's gameplay. When a game is really good, it should be considered an essential in the library of the enthusiast or the game developer. Now with that in mind, let me tell you about Journey. Journey was created by indie studio That Game Company following the critical success of a game about plants that did not involve zombies. That Game Company tries to make games that lack any form of combat as a way of demonstrating that violence is not a necessary component of fun. And those ideas gave us Journey. You play as a nameless wanderer in a desert of cloth bird creatures, and your only stated goal is to reach a mountain set far in the distance. There's no combat, and even the ability to jump is a limited resource. But the real genius behind Journey is in the multiplayer aspect. At random, at any point in the game, another player can enter your world. The two of you are essentially just working together, but the real kicker is that you cannot speak to one another. Instead, everything you learn about this stranger is based on the limited actions he or she can perform. You find yourself weaving a story about this person, and you wonder what they might think about you. You start to wonder, are you being cowardly, impatient? Are you doing enough to help this other person? Very quickly, and using the natural worries that come with human interaction, Journey actually causes you to bond with a complete stranger, almost even love a complete stranger. You see, Journey was designed to be a metaphor for life itself. The progression of the game represents different stages of a person's life, and that stranger is anyone you could meet along the way. For some people, it's a best friend, others may be a lover. I know that every time I replay Journey and I reach the end game, I think about my nameless partner and I as an old couple, striving to move forward, even after any number of catastrophes has tried to stop us. I recommend Journey for literally everyone. This game pushes video game storytelling to new levels that are still only hinted at by AAA titles. Plus, it's easy and short, making it accessible to noobs and experts alike. But most importantly, this game uses the barest minimum of storytelling elements to create genuine catharsis. It's not an experience that can be compared to television or books, but it's unique to the medium of video games. It's one of the greatest games of this generation. It's less than $20, and it's one of the single greatest examples of games as an art form. Journey is an essential title for anyone's collection, and I warn you, Journey will make you feel.
That was our first retro review. What'd you think?
It was amazing. I'm also great. Now on to Jeremy Lawton with Comic Crash.
Welcome to Comic Crash on Nerdcast. I'm Jeremy Lawton, and I'm the only member of the cast who's still single. DC has released details about their September solicits for this year. Since the New 52 relaunch, DC has been celebrating each anniversary with a gimmick. Last year, it was the Zero Month, with origin stories and new beginnings. This year will be Villains Month, where some DC series are getting taken over by villains. I say some because the whole approach is incredibly confusing. Most series aren't getting a villain issue, while some get 4, but some of those are clearly stand-in for other series, like Batman The Dark Knight number 23.1 / The Ventriloquist number 1 is clearly a stand-in for Batgirl. And most of the creative teams are totally different, furthering the confusion. But Dial H is getting one of the Justice League issues, so that's pretty exciting. September will also see the launch of what DC is stating will be the first true, all-encompassing crossover event in the New 52, Forever Evil. Jeff Johns and David Finch will be handling the core 7-issue miniseries, with tie-in miniseries including Forever Evil The Rogues, Forever Evil Argus, and Forever Evil Arkham War. Oh, and all the villain issues will feature semi-3D covers and cost $3.99. Marvel teases a new Mighty team that will rise during the Infinity event, while the Avengers are out in the far reaches of the cosmos. The team is solicited to include former Power Man Luke Cage, new Power Man Victor Alvarez, obscure heroes White Tiger and Blue Marvel, She-Hulk, who I thought was still on the replacement Fantastic Four, though it's all too common for Marvel heroes to pull double, triple, and sometimes even quadruple duty on teams, and Superior Spider-Man. Whether this is a whole new series or just a team within the Infinity event has yet to be revealed. While it's fun to talk about stuff that's terrible, not much was that last week. There were a few that were just mediocre, but that's less fun. Mostly it was the amazing stuff and the landmark stuff that stood out. Like a new era that's begun in Green Lantern number 21. Robert Venditti has a monumentous task following in Jeff Johns' 9 years worth of footsteps. Honestly, he picks up the ball really well by not trying too hard and writing really naturally. There's an amazingly smooth transition here from the game-changing Wrath of the First Lantern, with lots of great interaction along the core, and an intense relationship introspective between Hal and Carol, and another big game-changer that picks up the reins mid-air where Johns left them. It's not perfect, there's still some room for improvement on some rough edges, but it shows a lot of promise. 4 out of 5. The Superior Spider-Man number 11. Giuseppe Camuncoli was not my favorite artist on Amazing Spider-Man, but somehow he's my favorite artist on Superior Spider-Man. It could be the way he draws the adorable Annie Marconi, who my feeling towards her are awkward and I probably shouldn't go there, but I'm jealous of Doc Ock. We're beginning to see the effects of the darker methods Superior Spider-Man has been using in this issue. A loose end from Amazing is picked up. There's some excellent cathartic moments for Ock here as he stands on the other side of the bars, and his brilliance really shines through. I can't find anything wrong with this issue, so I have to go 5 out of 5. I actually met Charles Soule on Free Comic Book Day, got his first Swamp Thing issue signed. He was a cool guy too, and I told him what I'm about to tell you. While Scott Snyder told an undeniably great tale, I think it's Soule who has captured the truer essence of Swamp Thing, channeling the same tone and energy as the legendary Alan Moore run. These short stories are less action-focused and more spiritual or philosophical. This issue has an amazingly mythological tone, with Jesus Sayes drawing much like his Beowulf story. Soule uses this short tale to set a lot of things into motion, but it's clear he still intends to keep up this shorter-term storytelling. Plus, he told me that he plans to keep the shorter-term storytelling. Charles, if by some miracle you're watching this, you should be happy to know your Swamp Thing run has gotten better each issue and it's already hit perfection. 5 out of 5. Batwing number 21 was so awesome. Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti write a compelling story, already filling up the new Batwing's Rogues Gallery. And Batwing fills the upbeat personality quota that Nightwing stopped filling. And all that's great, but I love this issue because it was awesome. Literally half the issue was a truly epic brawl illustrated by Eduardo Pansica. Batwing versus a giant lion centaur thing. It's hard to explain, but it was so epic. Another 5 out of 5. But the absolute highlight of this week was China Mieville and Alberto Ponticelli's Dial H number 13. It strangely felt like an introductory issue to a whole new, bigger status quo. Strange since the series is ending soon. The story itself revolved almost entirely around everyone's favorite new hero, Open Window Man. He explained a lot of the current status quo in a very smooth way and guided a young graffiti boy through a heartwarming journey after the death of his parents in an alleyway. This issue also made me laugh harder than anything since Arrested Development Season 4, when we find out that Open Window Man's origin mirrors Batman's, but where Batman took inspiration from the bat flying through his open window, Open Window Man took inspiration from the open window. It's that ridiculous, but it doesn't change how heartwarming the rest of it is, and I have to give another perfect score. To wrap things up at Comic Crash before we get into Nerd Gear, some list bits of news. Scorpion is the newest DLC character for Injustice Gods Among Us, and despite being completely out of place, Mortal Kombat character in a DC-centric game, I have to admit he's damn fun to play as. And then finally, an Archie live-action film has been announced. No, I'm not kidding. There's also a serious chance that it might involve zombies. I am still not kidding. Totally serious. And now for Nerd Gear, featuring those other two people. They have names. I don't remember them.
Samsung has announced a new, more durable Galaxy S4. The S4 Active is both dust and waterproof. Well, it can last about 30 minutes in up to a meter of water. Luckily, this will help you take all those awesome underwater photos, which it's also supposed to be able to do. There's even a water-resistant headphone socket. It will come out in gray, blue, and orange, but only in the US and Sweden. Let's hope this stops those awkward trips to replace your phone when you accidentally drop it in the toilet. Oops. They also revealed the S4 Mini. Not as determined to keep up with Nokia in the invulnerability department, but maybe you won't feel like you're carrying around a tablet for a phone now.
Hey, remember how there have been 5 generations of iPod Touch? Well, now there's a new one. Sorta. See, it's more of a downgrade than anything else. Most notably, it's missing a rear-facing camera and most of its storage space. The new model kind of just appeared out of the blue. I can't wait for this to spawn cheaper iPhone rumors and get the Apple fanboys of the world hopes up so that they can just be smashed later. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Twitch TV landed a deal with ReedPop. Why does this matter to you? Well, the streaming service will be broadcasting PAX Prime, PAX East, and New York Comic Con. Now, you can watch from the comfort of your computer chair, but feel like you've been there, minus the smell.
Amazon loves the little guys. Keeping up with the times, Amazon has launched a service for buying indie games. To celebrate, they're having a sale until July 23rd. These prices are around what you'd pay for a humble indie bundle, so get moving.
So, starting tomorrow, there's a not-so-little show called E3. Maybe you've heard of it. Well, tonight on Table Talk, we're going to go ahead and discuss all of our speculation, what we hope to see, what you will see on TV and on all the streaming sites, and of course, the completely out there stuff that we will never see, but it would be awesome if we could.
And we're semi-professionals, so our guesses might possibly hold relevance. E3!
So, as you know, tomorrow starts E3's conferences, and there's a lot to go over. This is the pre-E3 show. So let's start off with the news about the Final Fantasy conference. They're going to have their own little mini show with a big announcement. Now, I don't expect to see a new game with all of its footage or it even out on the demo floor, but I'm excited to see what it is.
Maybe we'll get a rebranding of Final Fantasy Versus 13 since it's been like 13 years.
It's been a couple years, admittedly, but I am very excited to see any news about Versus 13 at this point. What I'd really like to see, because I'm done with the whole 13 rivalry and sequels to Final Fantasy 13, what I'd really like to see is Final Fantasy Versus 13 rebranded as Final Fantasy 15, let the series come out strong. It's due for another big hit, and I would be super excited for that. Even better if there's a playable demo. I would fangirl everywhere and foam.
As would I. I'm not even a Final Fantasy fanboy, and I've been ridiculously excited about Versus 13 since they first talked about it.
Right. Well, they've had a few changes at Square Enix, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen, and they have another game that will be shown at E3 called, it's the Soul one, the about murder and soul. I don't even
Murder? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a name that when I read it, I was like, really? I get the name, but at the same time.
Murder Souls?
No, it's Murder Soul Sacrifice or something like that. And the soul is spelled like Dark Souls. So you're
Right, I would expect that kind of
instead
soul.
of like only one soul.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, so they have a lot going on at this conference, and they've had some staffing changes, like some really top of the line people, like the CEO I think resigned, and so they're going through a lot of changes, and I think that's just going to affect how Final Fantasies go. They also have the Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns or whatever for
Yes.
the third sequel.
Final Fantasy 13-3.
Though it's not called that, that's what it is.
It's what it is. And that's why I'm so upset at Square Enix, which is why if Versus 13 doesn't end up being a huge game, and by all looks of it, it looks like it's going to be. I mean, the Kingdom Hearts team is behind it. It's a much darker fantasy world. If that game,
It's also not turn-based.
if that game doesn't hit big, I'm worried about the future of the Final Fantasy franchise. But I think it's enough time on Final Fantasy and Square Enix. Let's move on to some other things we're hoping to see.
I would love to see something about The Last Guardian. Since it's been several years since we've heard anything. We were rumored to be getting a playable demo like 2 years ago with the Ico Shadow of the Colossus HD release, but that didn't happen, and Team Ico just makes perfect art games, and this thing has a giant cute fuzzy creature that you can ride, and I want one, and I want to hug it.
I can honestly see that game just dying out. Like they're gonna try to not mention anything.
No, they can't just push. They can't just push Last Guardian aside. It's too big a game. There's too much hype.
But they've also been working on it for so long, so I can see Sony just cutting their losses and being done with it.
But I mean, to be fair, Team Ico already took 5 years each to make their first 2 games.
That's right. And with the console jump into consideration now, it's not unexpected to have delays. I mean, they can beef up the graphics that much harder. I mean, the game originally, I believe, was produced for the PS3, and now it's going to the PS4. And you're going to see each little fur on his tiny, adorable head. Really? You love these things.
I like furry things.
You
Why
love
do you
them
think I have a pocket cat?
Truth.
Also, I don't know, it just makes sense too because Team Ico always seems like a developer that's like somewhere between a big developer and an indie developer.
Yeah, they're like an indie team that's getting a budget behind them.
Right, but at the same time, I don't think Sony can afford to support that budget more often, especially if the Xbox One manages to beat them in sales.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
I don't know why I even bothered to say that. Okay,
Compared to the PS4, the Xbox One is like, wow, we're gonna lose some fans. It's like a big DVR, and okay, you know what? This is E3. Let's give them a chance to release some game titles. I'm gonna give Microsoft
Like Halo?
Halo,
5,
of course. Halo,
7.
Halo forever, and
Infinity.
more
to-
car
and
racing
beyond.
and sports games.
Okay, well, on that note for a second, after this conference, it'll be a more level playing ground because E3 is about the games. So at their conference revealing the Xbox One, they said that there would be 15 exclusives within the first year, 8 of which are new IPs. One of them is going to be Quantum Break by Remedy, and they're the group that did Alan Wake. That game is supposed to be at E3. However, a big one for the PlayStation 4, done by Quantic Dream, who did Heavy Rain, I believe it's called Beyond Two Souls, that one will not be there as far as we know. So that one I'm a little concerned about because I really liked Heavy Rain. I like the idea behind it. Yeah, sometimes the controls were weird and, sometimes the motions look kind of funny. But the overall way that they told the story, I really enjoyed it.
Right.
Speaking of games that have weird controls and unique storytelling, I really hope to see maybe some playable gameplay from Killer is Dead, the next game from Suda51, which he's been getting a little more mainstream lately, and it's been, wow, I sound like such a hipster saying this, but it's just, they haven't been as good, but Killer is Dead, even though he said it's not directly related to Killer 7, is going to be kind of, he said, the flip side to Lollipop Chainsaw, which was very, I mean, it was dark, but it was kind of bright and happy and ironic way. So Killer is Dead looks like it's going to be a lot more like Killer 7 in tone, which was dark and terrifying and my favorite game of all time. So I would love to see something about that at E3.
Don't put pressure on me. What I would really like to see is something from Valve. They had been hinting for a long time about a Steam home console, something more than just giving controller access to Steam. If something like that were to come out, E3 isn't really the place for that, but they definitely would have IP titles that could back that up, like a Left 4 Dead sequel or Half-Life 3 would be crazy,
If Valve had a
guys.
console,
What are
wow.
you doing?
Okay, well,
Stop making hats.
it's called the Steam Box. At least that's what's been rumored to be called. And they've been preparing for it. They have the big TV mode now, so you can play the games on your TV. But at the same time, it'll still... A lot of people who also have home consoles will buy it because, well, it's Steam. If they also have a PC, they're probably been buying games off of Steam and love the sales. But at the same time, it's going to be hard to get that hardcore PC fan to give up their mouse and keyboard. And I can understand why, because I've played both. And there are some games where I need that controller, and other games where if I don't have that mouse and keyboard, I'm just like, I can't play this.
Right.
So,
And I agree with you. I don't think that there would be much... I don't know what the market is for this Steam box, but knowing that it's coming out of Valve means that it has to be something game-changing. They have such a consistent record for AAA greatness. They know that if they've got a consistent computer-based fan, they're not suddenly just going to jump to home consoles. So I'm really excited to see what they have. I have no idea what it's going to be, though.
I don't think the Steam Box would come out at E3, though. I think it'll be something more like Nintendo's Direct kind of approach.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
But come on, Gabe Newell, we want the Steam Box. It'd be nice to have another console to kick out that Wii U that nobody wants. On the Xbox One, I need something next to the PS4. Come on now. All right, and
I want the Wii U.
we'll wait for Zelda and then return it after the game is over. Okay, guys, that was Table Talk.
Without a table.
We don't have a table. We don't have the budget.
We've never had a table. Oh, geez.
Or a budget.
At least not for this. Always in the background. Send us in a table. Come on, guys. Next week, post E3 madness. Enjoy the madness on here as we scramble to get all that news out to you. There will be a lot. There always is every E3.
And I'll see if Anno Senti's Katana will sink as low as her Catwoman. And then it'll be dominated by Scott Snyder with the American Vampire Long Road to Hell special, the launch of the new Jim Lee Scott Snyder series Superman Unchained, and the beginning of Scott Snyder's next arc on Batman, Zero Year.
Following that, or actually before that, I'll be reviewing a few things, and then we'll be welcoming our new host, Angelia DiGiuseppe.
She'll be replacing me for a few months while I'm having my parts replaced for a few months. Cyborg up.
And this has been Nerdcast. We could take a picture of Jess and put like a timeline under her name, like a rest in peace.
We have one of those in Hush. You can just copy and paste.
Hush?
A movie she killed me in. One of the many movies she's killed me in. And will kill me in. See, every time she gets mad at me, she writes a movie, and she casts me as a part who dies. I'm
I'm still in Hush.
Well, it may not always be the first one.
She doesn't know who Hush is, Jeremy.
I know. But you're listening.
Yeah, we have no idea, Tyler.